So I sold this company in May of last year for a really nice number. Ran it for 20 years. I grew it to we were doing about 7 million in EBITDA. I was the only guy in the office that didn't have a college degree. And then I gave them 10% of the EBITDA every year. And now I just bought another business.
What'd you buy?
I bought a company called, well, I can't tell you too much because I have an NDA.
Welcome back to the Mastermind 19 podcast. I'm your host, Javi Chavez. Today, I'm with somebody who's one of my favorite M19 members, actually. Somebody who I've been able to share the cart with for a little while. Mike Madrid, how are you?
I'm great.
Mike, I'm amazing. We're in Pebble Beach. We're in the presidential suite. It's tough to have a bad day
It is.
when we're on these trips. So I absolutely love it. But Mike, you're a little bit of a unique case in the sense where you've exited your business. You're now in this investment phase. But I want to kind of hear a little bit more about where you're at and where you started to kind of get to where you're at today. So
Sure.
yeah, tell me the story.
I've told this story many times, and I love to tell it.
Yeah.
Because it's a testament to God working in my life.
Amen.
So I didn't grow up with money. I grew up in a lower middle class family. In fact, Ryan can probably relate to this. My dad played professional baseball for 3 decades.
Wow.
And in the end of his career, well, I was born in 1951, and near the end of his career, he played semi-pro. And his team won the national championship twice. He was a shortstop. They went to Japan, played the Japanese All-Stars right after World War II, 5 years after Hiroshima.
Wow.
So he wanted me to be able to have a chance to play. And we lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and there was no league there. So Dad started a league.
Wow.
And we had 8 teams. He was my coach. And that league now has 2,000 kids. So my company's foundation has been a big supporter, pushing them forward. We built a gateway with his picture on it. And anyway,
it's a nice legacy.
It is a nice legacy. So needless to say, I didn't grow up from wealth. But when in my early 30, I always had an entrepreneurial bent. I was just listening to an entrepreneur talk about how he used to go door to door and sell trash bags when he was a kid. And that's the way the guy who started IKEA, Ingmar Kamprad, IKEA, Ingmar Kamprad, and then the city he's from, he sold pencils and pens in Sweden in a little town. Amazing story. I was kind of like that, always selling something. And I just heard Scott Galloway say the other day that he thinks less than 1% of America or the world is really cut out to be an entrepreneur.
I would agree with that stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one key foundation I see with a lot of entrepreneurs is like what you're mentioning. They were selling something. They always kind of had some sort of entrepreneurial bug from very early on. Yeah. So continue. So you get into your 30s.
And I was a grinder.
Yep.
You know, I worked multiple jobs. I sold real estate. I worked in construction. I worked for the DOT. And in my DOT world, I met a guy who was a civil engineer who became my best friend, got introduced to that whole arena, and started a business which just exploded. We were renting barricades to highway contractors. And so we became the biggest in Indiana. I sold it to a venture capital roll-up in 1999. I did well.
And when you don't have to be modest. How'd you do?
Back then, that was how many years ago? Almost 30.
Yeah, almost 30 years.
Yeah. Well, they were paying 5 or 6 times EBITDA, and and I did good. Yeah, I did well. So
Nice.
So I worked for them for 3 years. That didn't work out. I mean, it was fun the first 2, but then moved on. Had some other businesses. I started a bunch of medical companies, which that was not my thing. If you're going to start a business, you need to do something you know.
Yes.
And I didn't know anything about that.
So lost a little money there.
Oh yeah. So started up Highway Safety Services, which then became probably the largest in Indiana. I ran it for 20 years. I grew it to we were doing about 7 million in EBITDA. And had great staff. We had 8 I had 8 professionals running it in my office. I was the only guy in the office that didn't have a college degree. Not that a college degree means anything, but I got there by grinding and doing how I knew how to sell.
And then you brought on a great team
I did.
who's educated. So how do you feel like you attracted those people?
Showing a track record of success and being honest and forthright. And then I gave them 10% of the EBITDA every year. So it was interesting because when I announced that program and told them I was going to share the EBITDA based on their salary base, my operations manager comes in my office not within the hour and with a notebook and says, "I think we're paying too much for bolts."
Yeah, all of a sudden you start looking at the bottom line a little more closely.
Exactly.
And actually, I want to thank you, by the way, because we implemented a version of that in our business as well.
Great.
So I've always been on some portion of rev share for the last few years, but we really formalized it for the rest of the team, like our exec team, or 'cause the way we're structured, we have our parent company and then we have all the other businesses below. So everyone in the parent company is now getting entitled to a percentage, assuming above our normal threshold. So
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
So I sold this company in May of last year for a really nice number, and it had a number in it for an earnout, which I wasn't real happy with because I wanted the cash up front. But
of course,
so they gave me an earnout. So I went back to my staff and I said, "Look, I got this earnout, which is like $8 million. I'll give you 20% of that if you meet that goal."
You guys know I love the game of golf, and that is why I started M19. It is a golf mastermind for entrepreneurs who are doing over 7 figures in their business and who want to go on bucket list golf trips together. We already have hundreds of members all across the country, and we've been to some of the best courses in the world, places like Pebble Beach, Pinehurst, Bandon Dunes, and many others. The course is the best place to do deals, make great relationships, and have fun. So go to mastermind19.com today.
smart.
They got right on it.
Yep. So how far is the earnout complete, or are you still working
Well,
towards
the first year earnout's complete. The second year earnout's coming up.
Got it. And you guys pacing pretty well?
I think we're doing better. We'll see. First year wasn't great, but
Got it.
that wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
So
Is what it
anyway,
is.
it was interesting because my friend Barry, who was an engineer for the DOT, that's how I kind of found out about this business and how it might work. I went to the Chamber of Commerce. I didn't know anything about business, really, not any business with employees, and asked for some help. And they put me with a guy, a retired executives counseling service, and he was a Harvard MBA, retired from IBM, nice guy. I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, "I thought the government owned all those." I said, "No, it's all private." So he said, "Well, I have a good friend. I play golf with him every Saturday, and he owns the biggest paving thing in this part of the state." So he introduced him. I met the guy. He became my mentor.
Nice. So even back then, golf creating connections.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned this off the podcast. So how did you hear about Mastermind 19? So
I'm thinking it was some kind of a feed, Instagram, Facebook, maybe.
yeah.
And I was immediately attracted to it because I live in a small town, 200,000 people, Purdue University's there. There's not a lot of really successful entrepreneurs, of course, that love golf. And I've just about met all of them. I kind of exhausted my supply. So I needed more opportunity. So this appealed to me. I heard the last guy who was just talking about the initial fee. And I thought about that for about 10 seconds.
That's hilarious.
And then I said, if you don't take a risk, you never get anywhere.
Yeah, that, and I mean, depending on where you're at, and for you, the reason why I said in the beginning of the podcast, you're a slightly different situation. A lot of these guys are kind of in the build phase, right? Like and you're still building, so don't get me wrong. But a lot of these guys are like, building like their first true wealth creation engine, right? And now you're kind of looking at things like, okay, like, well, this might be an opportunity to partner. This might be an opportunity to, start another venture, et cetera. Now that you've, in the process of your second exit, is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. And so for you, how are you looking at, obviously the relationships, but you mentioned you have how many partnerships in the works right now through the community?
I think I have 4 through 3 people.
Okay.
But I'm looking at a couple more.
And what industries are those in now?
Mainly real estate, although I do have an oil lease.
Yeah.
It's kind of a flyer, you know.
Yeah. I love it.
But
And then
I like the guy. And I tell you one thing I like to do when I'm investing. I'm concerned about the profitability and the future, but more than that, I'm concerned about the person.
And one thing that I love about the person is when you get into a room like this, and I mentioned it earlier, but you might bypass a couple steps in terms of like the initial vetting, right? You're like, okay, this person's in the group. I know they love golf. I know they care about their family. They care about their faith. And obviously you're going to do more vetting, but it kind of helps you get into the room and like know a little bit more about a person from the jump, and then spend 3-4 days with them here.
Right.
And so how did you get into those conversations and connections, right?
Well, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I met a guy named Jeff. I won't tell you his last name, but he's a mastermind guy. And Ryan posted that he was going to be in. I stay in Scottsdale over the winter usually, so he posted that he was going to be in Scottsdale, and he was speaking at a church conference with another guy, and they wanted to play golf in the afternoon, and they wanted some people to play. So I said, "Count me in."
Yeah.
So I go to Troon, and I'm at the desk, and I'm asking, "Is anybody from Mastermind signed in?" And they're like, "No." But there's a guy standing there, and I said, "Are you with Mastermind?" He said, "Yeah, my name's Jeff." So I said, "So we're the only ones here, and the tee time's in a half hour."
Sounds like Ryan.
He got tied up at his church event,
Yeah.
with another guy, and I forget his name, but he wasn't a Mastermind guy. But so I said, "Well, let's go eat." So we went to the restaurant there there on the course, and we ate, and we started talking about what we're doing. And then we rode in the car together. And then I said, "You want to have dinner?" So I spent 10 hours with him in one day, but just enough to figure out what he was all about. And then he told me about an investment he had, and I said, "I'd like to see that." So I flew out, went to his place, drove up to the place north of Las Vegas, and it looked like a really good plan. Not only was it a good money maker for him and me, but it was helping it fulfilling a need, and I really think that's important. So I jumped in there.
There we go.
Yeah.
And so you've been on the majority of the trips. Do you have a favorite track we've been on so far?
Boy, Pinehurst was pretty special. Ryan said it's Disneyland for golfers.
Yep.
And I think he was right. And I had no idea. Never been there before. It was a great course. This one, I've been here a couple times, but I really never stayed. I just stayed somewhere else and drove down and played. But this is spectacular.
Yeah, this has been pretty special. I'm very excited for this afternoon and the next few days here.
Right.
And so for anybody that's on the fence thinking about M19, or they might have seen some ads, but they haven't talked to anyone yet, like what's something you can tell them about the group, or
Well, I like the culture of the group. I like the fact that we've got people there who are experienced. They've had businesses of a certain size, and they have they love golf, of course. They have a bent for growth and for giving back. I love that, and they have a Christian mentality. So that's, to me, how can you get any better than that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been through business at arguably like some of the highest levels. What's one piece of advice that you can give to somebody who may be growing or starting their business that's really helped you grow?
People always ask me that.
Yeah.
People ask me about starting a business. What should I do? And my first thing is you got to get your personal life in order first. If you got issues going on in your life, you need to fix them. If it's financial, if it's emotional, if it's family, it's hard to start a business. Business is like having a baby, because when it has a need, you got to be there, and you can't do that when you're distracted with other issues. And then the next thing is do something you know. So in my life, I learned the hard way. I built and operated sleep laboratories for physician groups. Talk about a learning curve. It
Yeah.
was huge. And we were successful, but not successful enough to stay with it. So I moved on from that. And but I do know the business I'm in now. I just bought another business.
What'd you buy?
I bought a company called. Well, I can't tell you too much because I have an NDA. And
That's okay.
we're closing the 30th of this month.
There we go.
But it's a product that has a patent. It's the only product that fills this need nationwide and maybe internationally. It's quality. It has a great track record. It's been around for 10 years. It's got a great EBITDA. And my son and my son-in-law are going to run it, which in my life, it's important to take my knowledge and pass it on to the next generation.
Incredibly important.
So I'm hoping that we can do that with this because they didn't work for me in the other company.
Yep. So giving them an opportunity to, one, just take action, do what they're doing, and then hopefully again learn those lessons and leave them.
And I have 9 grandkids.
Yeah. So we got to make sure that they figure it out. Then
I got a whole pool of talent.
yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And then just being able to start a family business and then, like you said, pass it on to not only your first generation but that next generation too. Leave an inheritance for the children's children. Yeah. So I love that. Mike, where can people find out more about you?
Well, I don't have a social media presence. I'm kind of a social media.
Or connect with you, or
you can connect with me through my email, which is mmadrid at dormy dormiellc.net. And all of you golfers out there will know what dormy is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I just learned where that name came from. It's French. It means to sleep. And the idea is, if you're already dormy in a golf match play,
that's it.
Then you can just kind of sleep. It's over.
Yep.
So all I meant to use Dormy for my company, which is my parent company's name, Dormy LLC. I used it because it also means you can't be beat.
Yep.
So I like that.
Absolutely. I like it too.
Positive.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. And you guys, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.